All right, guys, thanks for tuning back to Nate's Bow Hunting, where it's everything about taking down big bucks on small properties. So I've been busy. I've been running around doing land consults like crazy. I'm going through March. You guys need some extra help, reach out. I'll be glad to help you. And we are talking about something today that I don't hear talked about a lot, and it can lead you to take down way more bigger deer on your small properties. It's worked for me the last 4 years. Used to hunt the old way of thinking. Didn't work so well, especially with ag country. Have a bunch of big open fields around your property. You better change the way you think a little if you're not being successful taking down these big bucks. So we're gonna talk all about why walking to your stand in the dark and walking out of your stand in the dark can be doing you way more harm than good. I'm gonna give you 5 big reasons, guys. Thanks for tuning in, Nate's Bow Hunting. All about chasing big bucks. Let's get to it. If you love chasing big bucks, well, this is the channel for you. I don't own hundreds of thousands of acres. I didn't move out to Iowa. I hunt 2 small family farms here in Wisconsin. And we're gonna talk about everything from food plots and hunting strategies to take down the biggest buck in your neighborhood. So thanks for tuning back, guys. Today, we're gonna be talking about something that's gonna help you guys tremendously in the 2025 bow season. Now, full disclaimer, if you're killing big deer every year and you're happy, and you're walking in an hour before dark and you're waiting until an hour after dark and you're successful taking down big bucks, you can shut the video off. Don't even watch what I'm going to tell you, because hey, you got a property a lot different than mine, a lot different than a lot of the properties I'm walking. And if I always say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you're killing big deer, you're happy what you're doing, you're walking into the dark, keep on doing it by all means. But if you're not taking down the bucks you want to take down every year, if you're getting trail camera pictures of these big giant bucks and it's been a couple years since you get a crack at them, pay attention and watch the video about what we're going to talk about here, because I'm hearing this is a broken record over and over. So I know it's a lot of you guys are thinking, this guy's crazy, is he nuts? What is he talking about? You know, everyone I know goes, you got to get in the dark, you got to wait, watch the sun come up, and you know, that's how you kill big deer, right? Well, used to try that way. I didn't have a lot of success. So before I get going here on why you should only access your stand in shooting light and get out in shooting light, I want to hear from you guys. How many of you guys are accessing your stand in the dark and getting out of your stand in the dark? And we're talking bow hunting here. I'm sure I'm the underdog. There's no doubt in my mind I'm the underdog on this, but it works for me, and it's been working for a lot of clients I've been helping as well. So let's get to it. Let's get to the obvious here. Deer, especially big bucks, but all deer in general, does, smaller bucks, they will be in areas, this is reason number 1, guys. Deer will be in areas at nighttime where they don't even think about going during the day. Prime example, so I hunt big ag country. This little 14-acre piece is thicker than heck in here, but I'm surrounded by big open ag fields. Big open ag fields where at nighttime, these deer come out feeding these ag fields. Heck, they'll feed in my neighbor's apple trees at night. They'll come right up to their house. They'll be in spots they won't be when it's light out. So we are at a total disadvantage. Unless you have thermal binoculars when you're walking out to your stand, we are at a total disadvantage. And there is deer, my point, where they're normally not deer. But these big open fields, there's deer. You're walking out to your stand, you're blowing deer out. Every single time you're getting in your stand where the deer are, and then when you get out at night, oh yeah, they clear. No, unless you're up in the stand with thermal binoculars or fly a thermal drone up in there and see how many deer are around your area before you get down, I can guarantee you're blowing out deer. You may think they're not by your stand, but they can see you. They're on the field edge. Or prime example of this. So I used to hunt with that theory. Well, I'll wait an hour, wait for him to get by me, and then get down. Well, big giant 8-pointer, 153-inch 8-point that the neighbor ended up killing with the gun, because I didn't know how to hunt smart back then. Comes out right before dark. There's a doe out in the field. He comes down the field edge. Everything's perfect. I'm getting all fired up, thinking I'm gonna get a crack at this big boy. Well, it gets too dark to shoot, and he hangs up at about 100 yards out there with the doe. So I'm up in the stand. It's too dark to shoot. All of a sudden I hear another buck come marching through the woods behind me. Crunch, crunch, crunch. All of a sudden I don't know what buck it was fighting with this buck, but he obviously was pretty big too. They're fighting out in front of me. They got a doe out there. So I wait up in the stand. I text my wife, hey honey, you got a big 8-pointer out here. I'm gonna wait till he's gone. I'm gonna give it an hour and I'll be back to the house. So I wait an hour, everything's quiet. Well, deer are gone, right? You know, a deer went past me. Get down from my stand, turn my headlight on, look around the open alfalfa field. Up he stands. He bedded right down in that alfalfa field with the doe. Took a look at me, and I see tail, and I see him running. That was the last time I saw that buck, and the neighbors killed him 7 days later with the rifle. I busted that buck. He remembered it. Never saw him again in daylight, and the neighbors killed him. That is happening way more than what you think, guys. These deer are bedding in these open fields, and they're watching you. Get down from your stand when you think they're gone. They're pegging that stand, and they're not gonna come by in daytime again. It is the reason you're not taking down that big buck every year. If you're bumping him, or you're bumping does, that one doe you bump, those mature does are pretty smart too. They remember where that stand is. If you guys have ever been pegged by an adult doe, they'll know where that stand is. They're not gonna come by there in daytime. Therefore, they're not gonna bring that giant buck right past your stand in daytime hours. So bumping one doe can cost you that big buck, remember that. And then you hear the theory, well, you know, it's okay, I'll hunt over my food plot in the evening because the deer come feed my food plot, and I sit up in my stand for another half hour, 2 hours. I've heard some crazy stuff. I wait for the deer to funnel through my property, then I get down so I don't spook any of them out. I got news for you guys. You are spooking those deer out. So we're gonna get to 5 big reasons why walking to your stand in the dark and walking back to your truck or to your house in the dark, if you have the luxury of hunting on your property, why you're blowing out way more deer than what you could ever even imagine. What I'm saying to do, and this is how I started hunting, and last 4 seasons taking out great bucks because of it. I don't walk into my stand until I have shooting light. If it's dark out and I can't see if there's deer in the field, and obviously I use cell cameras too, you know, when the deer are using your food plots. But if you can't see getting up into my stand, I'm not getting up there. I wait until I have shooting light to get up into my stand. In the evening, I am waiting until I can't safely shoot. I'll draw my bow back. If I can't see, you know, when you draw your bow back, you look through your peep, you lose about 5 minutes of light. You can't see. If I'm to that point where I can't see and I know it's not safe to shoot, I'm getting down. And I'm getting back to the truck or back to my house as quick as I can. And I set up my stands with real good access, obviously, where I'm not bumping deer. I mean, that's huge too. You can't have your stands in dumb spots right over your food plots, or not good screening where you're getting up and down. That's a whole nother video. I got plenty of videos covering that. Even if, you know, I'm not getting pictures, I know that big buck's not in the area that I'm hunting that evening, and you know, it's just not going to be the night, and I know there's going to be some does funneling through right before dark. I'll get down and I'll get back to the truck or the house and, you know, say, hey, it's not worth bumping these does. To me, you start bumping deer, and like I said, I hunt smaller properties. We're talking smaller farms. I'm not the TV stars that got a couple 100,000 acres out there and 10 different farms to hunt. I wish I had that luxury, but I don't. So if you just have one small farm you can hunt similar to me, you can't be bumping deer, guys. They're gonna go nocturnal on you. And like I said, I used to do this too, and I wasn't real successful. If you're successful, keep hunting, walk out in the dark all you want. If you have good stand placement, and you're putting those stands on field edges where your wind blows out into an open field or a road, and you're using that as your barrier, because you know darn well in daytime no big bucks are going to come in that open field when you call them in, or just as far as your shooting lanes. They're going to stay in that thick cover, right? Well, it's nighttime, guys. You're going to have all kinds of deer coming from that open field. You're going to have big bucks coming from that open field. Which way is your wind blowing? Into the open field. You're bumping deer. You're sitting up there in the dark. You got deer coming downwind of you, and you can't shoot them. It's pitch dark out. What good does it do? What are you doing sitting up there? It's kind of crazy to think about it. I don't know if some gun hunter thought this up years ago, you know, that are shooting 200-300 yards away, and sitting up there in the dark for an hour before it gets light out, because you want to place your stands where deer aren't going to be coming. When it's dark out, you get all kinds of deer coming through the open fields, right? So that's reason number 2, and that's a big one. It does you no good sitting up there in the pitch dark, having deer come downwind of you and bust you. They're going to smell you. They're going to come. It's going to be pitch dark. If they might not see up there, but they're going to smell you, and they're not going to come around you when it gets shooting light. So I kind of hit on this one already, guys. Reason number 3, deer can see in the dark and we can't. You got your little headlight, right? You can see 20, 30, 40 feet in front of you. A lot of guys will use the red or green light, so we're not spooking any deer. They can't see our red or green light. They don't need to see the light. They see you walking out to your stand. I hate to break it to you. So we're at a total disadvantage. Deer can see in the dark, we can't. Unless you got thermal binoculars, thermal drone, you're flying up, seeing where all those deer are around you in the open field, in areas they're normally not during the daytime. You're at a total disadvantage. You're in the deer's world. They like to move at night because they feel safe at night. They move in areas they're normally not in the daytime at night. They're sitting in your backyard. They're sitting and bedding in open fields. They are watching you walk to your stand. Reason number 4, guys, kind of hit on this one already too. You can't shoot them in the dark unless you're breaking the law. I like to kill them the right way. I don't know about you guys. Unless you're sitting up there with a thermal scope and shooting deer illegally, you can't shoot them. You're sitting up in your stand, you can hear them walking around you. You can hear does blowing at you because they smell you, and you know it. They know you're up there. Even if you think you're fooling the deer, I guarantee you're not. Because like I said, they're coming in open fields or whatever perfect access you think you have. Deer are coming. They even are crossing roads at nighttime. Look at some of these Seek 1 guys. They're crossing 20, 30 roads at dark. They're not doing that during the day. If you go in there in dark, guys, they're going to run right across the road. They're going to smell you. They're going to know you're up there. There goes your opportunity. You might not see that big buck for another week, 2 weeks, once he busts you and he knows there's a human in his little safe area. Keep that in mind. All right, guys, reason number 5. Deer will go nocturnal. And this is the biggest problem I see out on my consults walking around with guys. They're showing me pictures of some guys have 4, 5, 6 mature deer. 3 over 170 inches they're targeting, but guess what? They never get them in the daytime. Why aren't they getting them in the daytime? Well, big problem, stand placement, but that's a whole nother video. Another problem is they hear, oh, I got to get out to my stand an hour before dark and sit up there an hour after dark so I don't bump deer. And they say, well, we think we're bumping deer because every time we go in there, we can hear deer running. And when we get back, I can hear deer blowing at me in the dark. There's not many properties where you can get away with that, especially in open ag country. So I'm Wisconsin, big ag country. A lot of properties I'm on, it's ag country, but there's some big woods as well. Like I said, these open fields you're using to blow your wind into, there's deer in there. You don't want to be walking through that open field when it's dark. You're going to be bumping deer. If you're killing big deer every year, keep on doing it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if you're not, I would highly consider this season thinking a little bit more about your access, what time you're getting in your stand, what time you're getting out of your stand, and you're going to be a lot more successful taking out big deer. I guarantee it. A common problem over and over in talking with clients on their properties about why they're not taking down all these big mature bucks they have on their cameras. And that's one of the biggest problems I see is stand placement, access, and then what time they're getting in and out of their stand. Those 3 things are costing guys a lot of big deer. They have the properties. They have the deer around. There's proof of it. They have pictures of them. They're just doing a few small things wrong. So yeah, guys, you need a little extra help. You want me to come out to your property, or we can set up a virtual consult for 2 hours. You can ask all the questions you want. We can sit down, look over your property, drop a map. We can do that as well. But or I can come on site. I'm still running through March and maybe a little bit of April, and then I get too busy with my other job. So we're all thinking about how to improve our properties. A lot of guys, if you struggled this year, struggled last year. So many guys buying these properties strictly for hunting. It's been 3-4 years, they can't take down a big buck. You can be successful, guys. You just got to change some of the habits you're doing. Think a little different how you hunt. You know, just because the juries or some of these real big names are doing it, don't mean you got to do it. You hunt small pieces, it's a whole nother ball game than these real big farms you see on TV, guys. Otherwise, I got to find some sheds. I'm out here, I only got so much time in the day, and I haven't been out shed hunting yet, and there's some big boys dropping. So all right, guys, no sheds today, but I found a monster rub, which is almost just as good. It's perfect time of year, guys, to do some scouting. And this rub, I think this is buck I've been after that survived the year, and I hope to run into him next year. One thing you can tell, guys, you'll get a 1-2-year-old buck hit a tree this big, but when it gets this high up, I'm 6'1". You can see this is right up right up to here. So that's no small buck. What an awesome rub when you find something like this. It's not as good as finding a shed, but I'll take it. Better than nothing. Thanks for tuning into the video, guys. I'll keep you posted if I find some big sheds. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.